Welcome back. The minutes of the last RBI monetary policy meeting, the last under Shaktikanta Das as governor, has been released. It shows that RBI members on the committee, including Governor Das, remain steadfast on taming inflation before easing interest rates. The governor argues that the biggest support for growth comes from price stability and any other approach will be counterproductive. But two members of the six-member panel dissented with the majority view. They argued that a rate cut would help revive economic growth without worsening the inflationary situation. Joining us right now is Nagesh Kumar, external member of RBI's Monetary Policy Committee. Dr. Kumar was one of the two members who had voted for a 25 basis point rate cut. Now, Mr. Kumar, you've been consistently demanding a rate cut, saying that it is necessary to increase growth and reduce the cost of doing business. Now, in terms of inflation, it seems that the RBI governor and the majority view was to see stability in inflation reduction. Do you think anything will substantially change from now till February that will merit a delay in a repo rate cut?
Sorry, I just needed to switch off my phone, which started ringing suddenly. Well, thank you for the question. I think, the issue is that of course, this meeting, we found the inflation rate going up to 6.2%, which was very much of a concern. But how we look at the inflation, and that matters. And when one begins to dissect the different parts of the commodity basket that are contributing to rising prices, one finds that food items, especially vegetables, potato, tomato, and onions, sometimes called POT, were contributing to a large part of this inflation. And monetary policy is a demand management tool. So my view was that we can't really address the inflation coming from the seasonal variation in prices by use of monetary policy. And it is a seasonal mismatch of demand supply, and it has started to ease in November, and I think it will go down further. And if we leave aside the food items, the headline inflation was only 3.1%, which was very much within the range that we look at for the MPC targets. So, but on the other hand, the slowdown of growth to 5.4% from 6.6 in the previous quarter was very sharp, and I thought it needed a policy support. And I thought by bringing down the cost of capital, we could help to incentivize private investment and help in reviving the growth rate, which will also be helping in inflation situation by creating enough supply for some things and create jobs. So creating more demand and helping, the revival of growth.
Right. So you had asked and recommended a 25 basis point cut. What would be your forecast for February? Now, all eyes on February. A lot can change between now and February in terms of the geopolitical situation and the inflation situation. But what would be your recommendation at this stage?
Well, it's very hard to say how the numbers will play out between now and February. And as we found this time, I mean, compared to the October meeting, there were a number of things which had gone wrong, gone in a reverse direction. For instance, growth slowed down and inflation inched up. So similarly, it would depend upon how the numbers look in February when we meet, and if we see persistence of the slowdown, obviously we will take a call on bringing down the rates to revive the growth. And also we will have to see whether inflation and inflationary expectations persist or are anchored. So this will really be something is hard to comment now. But one thing is
Right.
very clear that the rest of the world, if we look around, except for a few central banks, uh, they have started the cycle of normalization of monetary policy, and some of
Right.
them have been very aggressive in cutting the rates.
Right. Now, a 25 percentage point cut from the Fed, but all indications are towards fewer reductions next year. How do you think this could impact the MPC's decisions going forward?
Yeah, well, Fed actually started with a 50 basis point reduction, then another 25 basis point reduction, and very recently, in last few days, another 25 basis point correction. So they have in 3 rounds, 100 basis points cut they have effected. And obviously, having done very substantial front loading of the cut, there won't be scope for many such cuts in the coming year. But we have to see the situation, how our own situation is playing out, and the balance between inflation and growth, how it is shaping up. Because for a developing country, unlike the United States, revival of growth remains also an important objective before all of us, and also for the Monetary Policy Committee. Inflation is certainly
Right.
an important target, but we also consider and keep in mind the growth issue.
So we've seen a dip in demand in the FMCG sector, in urban demand as well. How concerned are you? Do you expect any improvement in overall GDP growth as we close this financial year, and about demand revival from now till February and as we close this fiscal?
Yeah, I think, I'm reasonably optimistic for revival of growth in the coming 2 quarters. I think the quarter two, Q2 was a bit of an, kind of a exceptional situation, because in the Q1, there was a very strong squeeze on government expenditure, especially capex, because of elections. And that seemed to have been revived in Q2. And there is generally, what I have seen is a lagged effect of government expenditure and capex on private, investments and consumer demand. So I expect that the revival of government expenditure show up in Q3 and Q4, and hopefully the things will become better in the next time around when we meet, and when the numbers of the third quarters become available.
Right. Thank you so much, Mr. Kumar, for joining us and giving us your perspective as to why you had sought a 25 basis point rate cut and how that is absolutely necessary for revival of growth at this stage and to attract investments as well. On that note, we come to the end of News Center. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.